grew up
awful.
talking about critical race theory and why it has become the latest in an endless series of dog whistles by right-wingers to pretend they have some legitimate reason not to care about minorities in general or black people specifically. I don't know.
It's funny. Well, also, I mean, some of the biggest critics of critical race theory until recently, I mean, the Republicans weren't really talking about this until Donald Trump's executive order. It was like James Lindsay and the intellectual dark web, disaffected left, liberal people that were focused on critical race theory. But,
conservatives weren't digging out critical race theory and being critical of it. Yeah. It's all these people on the left that are like, who are like, philosophy is kind of our thing. Well,
right.
Yeah, it is. What Queen or Central Cortex node instructs the conservative hive mind to adopt the talking points they do? I don't know how or why certain topics become the new hot button issues, but I know that critical race...
Does he live, wait, what? He just said, I don't know why people are talking about it now. Does our political ideologue commentator not follow the news well enough to know Donald Trump just did an executive order on it, and that's why people are talking about it?
Well, I think he did the executive order because he realized somebody whispered in his ear, hey, guess what? There are all these disaffected liberals that hate this woke shit. You know how we get those votes? I got an idea.
Well, I don't think it was that. I think it was someone was, they're thinking, how do we draw attention to some negative aspect of the protest ideologically besides rioting? And let's attack some ideological component of this, and maybe some people on the left will be stupid enough to defend it because I'm attacking it, or because Trump's attacking it. So I think that was what was going on here.
Well, there are people stupid enough to defend it.
Of course,
Thought Slime is defending it right now. He doesn't even know what he's defending.
He sure is. And so was Serps was defending it last week, even though he believes in a colorblind society, which is the exact opposite of critical race theory.
Yeah. I missed something in the thing that he just said. I missed something.
That thoughts.
I'm gonna back it up a little bit.
Well, he said he didn't understand why people were talking about this right now, which is why I said I don't understand how someone who does political commentary doesn't know that Donald Trump pushed an executive order about the topic he's doing the fucking video on.
Yeah, it was something else. Never mind.
Theory has become the latest.
It was something about the right winger. It bugs me that these people just think the right wing argument is just a racist argument. Like all they have is a huge straw man of conservatism, and it bugs the shit out of me. They should be teaching this stuff in grade school. It's like what team doesn't do well with an effective offense and an effective defense? And I conceptualize the left as offense and the right as defense. Like one wants to fight. Security and freedom are at odds with one another. Like the more freedom you have, the less security you have. The more security you have, the less freedom you have. And conservatives are just advocating for security constantly, and liberals are advocating for freedom. But they're just conceptualizing conservatives as racist. It's so bad. It's just totally bad. It's like, can you imagine going out on the football field and calling your defense, "You guys are a bunch of fucking racists"? Like, what?
I can. It wouldn't be very smart, but
yeah, we're here to defend you. What are you talking about? But I guess they want to disband the police department. They want to disband the military. It's like, why do you think the military and the police officers attract conservatives? Because they're more interested in security, for heaven's sakes. It drives their whole ideology.
Yeah, no, it's a good point.
It's so stupid.
And in right-wing spheres. Here's Christopher Rufo on Tucker Carlson's Daily Squinting video talking about how critical race theory is an existential threat to the United States.
It's absolutely...
See, I don't know about this. Is it an existential threat to the United States?
Yes.
I consider this... Do you really think so? How so?
Well,
lay it out for me.
Okay, so the way that I think of an existential threat is something... An existential threat to me is something that believes it wants to destroy the system that it's critiquing, right? It's a threat to its existence, okay? So critical race theory doesn't believe that liberal democracy can solve the problems that it's critiquing, that it's bringing up. Now, most critical race theorists are very careful not to openly advocate for revolution or communism or something like that. However, I would argue that if you keep saying the system that we're in right now cannot solve these very important problems that are plaguing our everyday lives, I'm not telling you what the solution is. I'm just saying. I'm just asking questions. I'm just pointing out, that the system we're currently in can't solve these problems. And it's because liberal democracy. If you keep saying that over and over again, I think it's fair to assume that you're implying we need to overthrow liberal democracy and overthrow the government.
But you have to have the well, I guess you have to have the votes to do that. I can't imagine them doing these protests are ridiculous. Like,
we can't
500 people. We could just march them up. We literally have enough jail space to incarcerate all these people.
Critical race theory doesn't believe in liberal democracy because it says that white people are the majority, and white people will never the majority of white people will never cede power to black people. Okay, this is what critical race theory thinks. And they can't conceptualize that white people and black people will unify together and stop caring about race. That's out the window. Critical race theory doesn't think colorblind society is possible. Okay. So they're saying that since white people are the majority, they will never vote, okay, through incrementalism, through normal civil rights procedures, they'll never vote to make things actually fair for black people. So they're not interested in winning this through votes, Adam. They're interested in, I guess, a violent overthrow of the government.
Are things fair? I mean, the conservatives will argue that things are fair already because we don't have institutional racism any longer. And I like the thing that critical race theory says about how our incentives can never align, our goals can never align, I think is patently untrue. I think the black community wants the same thing the white community wants, like safe streets, good schools, like clean drinking water. The
majority of black people support the police.
Yeah, totally. So if white people are going to vote for their interest, clean water, good schools, safe streets, and that's in the black people's interest, they are literally voting for the black people's interest. The problem is, what does the black community want that isn't in the white community's interest? Because that's the scary part. It's like, you're saying you don't have enough political power to do what exactly do you want to do that you need political power for?
So critical race theorists view, again, they're viewing the world through the lens of oppression and race. So they're basically saying that white people consciously view themselves as a collective white tribe, and that they are consciously, on some level, maybe unconsciously, but they're on some level, they are subjugating the black tribe on purpose in order to retain their own white power. Okay.
Yeah, that just seems farcical to me.
Well, it is farcical. I mean, this is the problem.
What are we doing?
Well, we're doing this video. That's what we're doing. But it's similar to the Adam Neely video. It's similar to Hitler. Okay, this is what the critical race theory does. They point out real problems that occur. Like, even though the civil rights movement passed in the 60s, there's still lots of black people are still disproportionately far poorer and in worse situations than white people. Okay, so that's a real thing that's happening. The problem is then the solution they provide for it, or even the reason they provide for it, is fucking insane. Yeah. So that's how they prey on people. They point out a problem that's real, but then they give you a solution that's really fucked up.
Well, I'm not sure that they're pointing out a problem that's real, because their only evidence for systemic racism is the outcome differences.
No, I'm not saying the thing exists. There is a disproportionate amount of black people in a lot worse economic situations than white people. That's real.
Sure.
Right? That's the problem.
There are Asians are a minority too, and there are a lot more Asians that are in better shape than white people.
Exactly.
What's going on there?
Sure. And same thing with Jews, right? But no one cares. Yeah, but that's not a problem. I mean, that's only a problem if you don't like Asians or Jews, I guess. But
the Jewish population is half the black population.
That's what do you mean? It's like that's significantly less.
Yeah.
It's like 1%. It's like 2%. 1.6-2% of America is Jewish, and like
2%.
16%.
13% is black. Yes.
Yeah, so it's a lot less. But no, but I'm not saying that the reason for obviously the reason they give for why the problem exists, I don't agree with. But it does exist in that black people are disproportionately in worse situations than white people.
Yeah.
Astonishing how critical race theory has pervaded every institution in the federal government. And what I've discovered is that
I will say most people who are attacking critical race theory do a very piss poor job attacking critical race
really?
theory. Yeah. So I mean, they speak very vaguely. They speak very generally.
Yeah, this guy should blast. If you're on Tucker, you're blasting about they don't believe in a colorblind society. What? Right?
Yeah, they don't believe in it. Yeah, this guy should be saying they don't believe in a colorblind society. They don't believe in liberal democracy, et cetera, et cetera. They don't believe in objectivity, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe the people criticizing it, I wouldn't be surprised, probably aren't very knowledgeable about it either. So maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Race theory has become, in essence, the default ideology of the federal.
Oh, I did think of the way that they can fuck shit up, the defunding the police thing. Like that's terrible. There are a bunch of politicians now that are actually defunding the police, and crime is skyrocketing in various cities. And that's not so bright.
Well, it's so annoying because all of this weird leftist, like neo-Marxist crap, they all employ the same strategy where they use language. The Mott and Bailey, they use this language. They say, let's defund the police. And then you say, what? Defund the police? That's fucking crazy. And they say, oh, no, you don't understand. We actually don't mean the words we used. We actually mean this other complicated idea that's actually not a big deal and that everyone agrees with. And you go, oh, okay. But then in the background, there's actually people advocating to literally defund the police. So
yeah,
they have it both ways. It's so bullshit.
Bureaucracy and is now being weaponized against the American people. But conservatives need to wake up that this is an existential threat to the United States, and the bureaucracy, even under the Trump administration, is now being weaponized against core traditional American values. And I call on the president to immediately issue this executive order and stamp out this destructive, divisive, pseudoscientific ideology at its
Nuclear Lab hosted a multi-day re-education camp for its white executives.
Yeah, I've watched the whole clip of this when he's on Tucker Carlson, and he talks about how, there was some U.S. nuclear lab, and they forced, he said, I don't know if this is true, he said they forced the white employees to go to one of these, racial training things, and they have to apologize for, the crimes that they've committed against non-white people and stuff.
Oh my God.
The question is these are the people that are supposed to maintain the nuclear arsenal, and you're saying they should be fucking worried about fucking critical race theory. I think they have a little bit more important thing on their mind. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe maintaining the weapons that could destroy the entire fucking world, maybe that should be top priority, not critical race theory and white privilege and all that nonsense.
They have to turn the keys at the same time. You know how you get them to turn the keys at the same time? Because it's like one, inside the nuclear silos, they have a key system set up where one guy turns the key. But maybe that's the problem,
Adam. You have to make sure one of the guys with the keys is not white. That's the only way to ensure that when you end the world, that the world was ended in a non-racist, non-bigoted way.
Oh my God. It wouldn't surprise me if they're trying to get that set up. The whole idea is so one guy can't launch a nuclear missile. It takes two guys to launch a nuclear missile. But if you want two guys to unite on turning the keys, send them to their critical race theory meeting.
Yeah, there you go.
They're like, oh, it's over. Let's go turn the keys.